Chapter 12. Kingdom by the Sea. Morning sunlight spilled across the vast West African landscape, illuminating the Atlantean countryside. Ares, already awake for several hours, wandered through the streets of the illustrious capital, determined to savour every moment before returning to Cairo. He couldn't be certain when he might next visit Atlantis. A curious spectacle of the first rays of sunlight marked the transition from late night to dawn as the city's vibrant nocturnal life wound down. Its revellers, night shift workers, and travellers all scattered to their homes or lodging. Many Atlanteans lived by night and slept by day, a fairly recent way of life, driven by profit, greed, and insatiable appetites rarely seen in other parts of the world. Such an existence clashed with the ethos of Ares' brotherhood doctrines, which taught living in harmony with nature rather than dismissing it. Yet despite his private disapproval, Ares extended empathy toward those who lived so differently from what he knew. He continued along stone-paved avenues, bound by monumental arches and columns carved from rare gleaming materials. Atlantis revealed itself in rings of unparalleled craftsmanship, each ring intertwined with tranquil waterways flowing in from the ocean. As daylight replaced the nightlife, a pensive quiet settled over the city, unveiling exquisite mosaics, carvings of gods and mythical creatures, and imposing walls set with red, black and white stones that mirrored Atlantis' might and mystery. The sight was also marred by scattered refuse and graffiti, reminders that this marvel had its share of neglect and decay. At the city's core stood the temple of Poseidon, lined with silver-plated walls and a golden roof that shone in the fresh morning light. It was both revered and feared, a place where Atlanteans believed the ocean's guardian held the power to shield or destroy their kingdom. In that coexistence of opulence and tension, Ares sensed the fragility behind Atlantis' dazzling facade. He made his way toward the temple and the adjacent royal palace, his temporary residence. Upon reaching the city's innermost circle, he noticed a line of 40 soldiers arrayed near the palace's grand entrance, preparing to greet an incoming vessel. Just then, the palace doors swung open behind him, and Atheros emerged with his brother, Callion. Once they stepped outside, the doors closed again. "Ares, you rose early," Callion observed. "I wanted to make the most of visit here," Ares replied with a small smile. "I may not see this city again for a long time." Just then, the incoming ship, named Wave Cutter, manoeuvred into the dock. Far grander than the vessel Atheros and Ares had travelled on, it cut an impressive figure even before the lines were cast. "And here is father," Atheros said under his breath, urging his brother toward the pier. Ares followed, mindful of his bearing. A moment later, Poseidon disembarked, looking weary from the journey. Despite his dominion over the seas, he rarely seemed at ease crossing them. "My sons," Poseidon smiled warmly, embracing Atheros and Callion. "Tell me Atlantis hasn't crumbled in my absence." They inclined their heads in unison. "Father!" Spotting Ares, Poseidon gave a curt nod of recognition. "Ares, it has been years." Ares stepped forward politely. "Indeed, since I was young and choosing my path in life." Poseidon managed a faint smile. "Come, let's go inside. I crave solid ground after days at sea." Ares quietly reflected on the irony of the monarch of an ocean empire, disliking ocean travel. Once inside the palace, Atheros, Callion, and Ares waited in a reception hall until Poseidon summoned them. Before long, he burst through the doors, accompanied by his advisor, Viracocha. 2 guards shut the doors behind them at Poseidon's command to leave them in private. Poseidon's serious gaze fell on his sons, then on Ares. "I've called you here because our calculations about the Golden Age were gravely mistaken." Atheros stiffened. "But father, this age has brought us unprecedented peace and wealth. How could the calculations be wrong?" Poseidon exhaled. Heaviness lined his features. "It was believed we had centuries left, However the signs state otherwise, the tides have grown restless, the Earth's energy is unstable. We thought we had mastered those forces, but nature is more delicate than we imagined. We've upset its balance and overstepped our timeline. The end of the Golden Age is confirmed, not just by myself, but by the assembly of eternal nations. Kalian threw a troubled look around the room. You're saying our great leaps forward accelerated the age's end? Posidion's sigh was regretful. I don't believe we are responsible for such natural forces of nature. The math was misaligned on the cosmic calendar. We were some 200 years misaligned. Our kingdom's power came from harnessing currents and ether. These forces have begun to resist us. We believed they were under our command, yet it was always a tenuous bond. Kalian's frustration showed. What do we do? Atlantis has prospered beyond measure. Are we to lose everything? Quietly, Posidion responded. We must adapt. We can't stop this cycle, but we might survive it. Our scholars are scouring ancient texts for guidance. If we miscalculated the duration of this age, we must at least respond wisely now. Atheros placed his hands on the table, speaking more calmly than his brother. Then we should prepare. If the age ends, Atlantis must endure. Posidion nodded. Exactly. I won't let our city or its people descend into chaos. We must be prudent and unified. From across the table, Ares listened intently. He could not help but find the correlation between the kingdom of Atlantis's slow descent beneath the ocean and the end of its times. If survival requires relinquishing control over these forces, do we have the humility to do it? Atheros asked. Posidion's eyes met Atheros with a trace of sad humour. We'll find out soon enough. Time is against us. Kalian bristled. Superstition! Our civilization thrives. There's no proof these so-called celestial cycles can doom us. Viracocha calmly shook his head. We lack proof of apocalypse, yes, yet legends of cyclical resets pervade every ancient tradition. Stories of floods, ice and fire repeating across ages. We'd be foolish to dismiss them outright. Kalian sneered. Fear-mongering might be what triggers panic. If we stoke worry about doomsday, that alone may unravel our unity. Ares, familiar with the family's dynamics, watched as Atheros interjected. Kalion, open your eyes. Our city is already divided by greed and corruption. If we ignore these warnings, how do we build a future for those who come after us? Kalian's voice fell to a displeased murmur. If these warnings prove true. Posidion stepped in once more, ending the argument. Turning to Ares, he said, You're a respected member of the Brotherhood of the Serpent. I value your knowledge. Now that I'm here, tell me, why have you stayed in Atlantis? Ares cleared his throat. During my latest assignment in Amazonia, Atheros and I found a site deep in the jungle, an ancient city, dating back some 20,000 years. Posidion drew a sharp breath. That predates anything we know. Ares inclined his head. Exactly. Most comparable ruins lie under the ice, inaccessible for proper study. This site is intact. From the soil composition, I believe it was deliberately buried. He paused, letting his words sink in. Then he removed a device from his satchel and set it before Posidion. We found this artifact in the central altar. It's intricate and unknown, so I've come seeking Atlantean expertise. No kingdom is more advanced in science or natural philosophy. Viracocha leaned closer, carefully examining its strange inscriptions and dials. His interest was obvious, the weight of discovery palpable as silence that settled over the room. Ares continued, What compels me most is a symbol on the temple's wall, a giant emblem of the Brotherhood of the Serpent. By all logic, the Brotherhood shouldn't date back more than a few thousand years. Yet this temple suggests otherwise. Posidion and Viracocha exchanged tense, wondering glances. If the Brotherhood's roots run that deep, Posidion murmured, it changes much of what we understand. Viracocha added softly, It's not in our Atlantean records, nor do I believe it is in the Brotherhood's records. Although I am a servant of Atlantis, not the Brotherhood of the Serpent, so you may have more information than I do on such an early origin." Ares looked between them. "Then maybe the answer lies in Eden's vaults, or somewhere not yet known to us. If this is real, it should be shared knowledge. There's nothing in our modern Brotherhood lore about such an ancient past." Poseidon's resolve hardened. "Ares, I'm grateful you brought this to us. Atlantis will dedicate its laboratories and scholars to deciphering this device and assisting with the excavation. I'll dispatch 60 of our finest archaeologists to Amazonia. If that lost civilization truly knew how to survive a Golden Age's end, they might hold secrets that could benefit us all." Viracocha handed the artifact back to Ares. "Stay in Atlantis, and we will unravel this puzzle." Ares accepted the device carefully, a surge of conviction and curiosity flaring within him. Ever since leaving the shores of Amazonia, he knew that he would not be returning home to Cairo anytime soon.